Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good to see you too. I need this note up here. There we go. We can stick it there. I have pinky. I have pink sticky notes all over my desk. So
Yay.
I can barely hang on a second. I think, yeah, let's
I'm
try.
so proud of you, Gina.
Thank you. Me too. Me too. Thank you so much. I was just talking to Nick, the guy who taught the class a few weeks ago, my Accountability Friday buddy guy. And so now that this is and now that I don't have pain and everything, I feel so amazing. And it was weird because I was kind of feel like, well, you're getting old, you know what I mean? And I've always had massive energy. I just always have had massive energy, but it felt like it was just taking harder to push that energy. You know what I mean? Like I was having to push it. And sometimes I just frankly did not feel it. But now I feel back to myself again. This massive energy into my veins all the time. And I remember talking, like my doctor one time, this is like 40 years ago, he goes, you know that thing that you feel all the time with that massive energy? And I'm like, yeah, because I love it. And he goes, they have pills for that. I'm like, why the hell would I take a pill for this? You know? And he's like, well, do you crash? And I'm like, at the end of the day when I'm tired? It's like, no, like you do. I'm like, no, like this is just how I operate. I just always have. I've just always have. I mean, can it be calm and read a book? Yes, I can. But when I'm working, I have mass like, let's do things. So anyway, it feels really good again. Yes. So thank you though, Anna. Huge thank you. I had to harass Craig about it. You I didn't harass, but Craig I did.
So. Yes, you did.
I love you, and I personally don't think you need any pills for that because that's exactly what all of us are looking for. I mean, we're taking coffee for that reason, and you're right there. So,
Exactly. I'm like, Nick,
that's so crazy.
when I was talking to Nick, I'm like, hang on, I need my cup of coffee. He goes, you have not had coffee yet? And I'm like, no, I never have coffee until right around this time. And he's like, you seriously do this without coffee? And I'm like, oh no, I have coffee. He goes, but you haven't had it yet. Well, not yet, but I will. So anyway, fabulous. All right, I have good news today. That's very, very cool. Let's dig into today. So today I want to talk about stacking and stacking problems and stacking presentations. And I ran across this concept, and then I think I'm going to teach on it tomorrow, actually, too, in a more formal presentation. But when I ran across it, it started me going back and analyzing every time I've ever done a presentation. Then this is for selling anything, or where you're asking people to do anything that's going to cost them, like a listing presentation. I mean, you're selling listing presentation, buyer presentation, price adjustment, anything like that. Or if you're selling a product or you're trying to persuade somebody to do something. So there's a problem stacking. And the reason why you do problem stacking is because we have this very primitive lizard brain that is designed to hold back and keep us safe. And it's actually located here, and it's a bundle of nerves. And it's like our first brain. But that bundle of nerves is what people call like their gut instinct. That's what that is. That's where that very primitive brain is, that bundle of nerves. And the interesting thing about that is you can tell when it's really that gut instinct, because your gut instinct is always going to tell you to do what is safe, always. So if you're like, I have a gut instinct that I should go, skydiving, probably not your gut instinct. Probably something else going on, because gut instinct is designed to literally like danger, 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 go underneath the rock, hide, keep safe. That's what gut instinct is designed to do. Not designed to teach you to go skydiving, unless there was some reason why skydiving would keep you safer. And frankly, I cannot figure out what that reason might be. Anyway, so that's your primitive brain. And when you are selling or stacking a situation, a situation or a premise, you need to be able to address that gut brain. It's not just enough to address this, because people won't move just for this. They're going to move for emotions or their gut. They're going to do one or the other, but they're usually not going, very rarely are they just going to move off logic. If your presentation is completely logical, there's something that they're converting in to cover those things also. To say, okay, because this is so logical, my gut says that this is safe for me to do, or because this is so logical, it's somehow hitting my emotional thing. But that's what the stacking does. So here's what stacking is. Stacking is a series of 3 questions and then permission to close and closing. And those 3 questions are, the very first one is, does this work? So will this thing work? Was what you're presenting to me actually effectual? Like, really, is it effective? Does this thing really work? That's the first thing. So then and think about this again. I've been thinking about this in relation to my listing appointments and my buyer appointments. So does this thing work? What is the proof? How do I know? Who's done it, who's done it before, whatever. Does this thing actually work? Then the second question that you have to layer on top of that question in order for the primitive lizard brain to be able to assimilate the information, it needs to be stacked in this order. So the first one, does it work? The second one, will it work for me personally? So, all right, sure, that works for everybody else, but is this going to work for me? Have you guys ever felt that or thought that? It's that question next. So does this work? Will it work for me? The third one, do I have the resources? Do I have the money, the energy, the time, the talent, the whatever, the smarts, whatever it is to be able to actually implement this thing? And we get stuck a lot of times specifically on the money one or the time one. Usually the money one's first, a lot of times the time one is second. Sure, that works for them, but it won't work for me. Like, I have heard that in that won't work here. Do you know how many times I've heard that in real estate? Yeah, that works there, but it won't work here. Like, I hear it all the time in real estate. This thing that works across the entire country will not work in my little podunky town. And while there are some things that work better in big cities and small towns and vice versa, the underlying principle flipping works usually. You know what I mean? It just usually does. So that it's, will this work? Will this work for me? Do I have the resources of whatever sort that is? Time, money, talent, and gives there. Liz, what we're doing is we're talking about problem stacking for presenting. So for sales, for some presentation, we're talking about problem stacking to address our lizard brain that is designed to keep us safe. So will it work? Will it work for me? Do I have the resources? The very next step that has to come into place is, well, hang on, do I want to back up a little bit? No, I think I'll layer those on. The very next thing that has to come into place is after you've addressed these 3 issues, and we can talk about different ways to address these 3 issues. The very next thing that has to come into place is you ask for permission to close. So can I show you how this is done? Are you ready to do the paperwork? Would you like to see how cheap this actually is? Would you like to see what all you get for this? Would you like to see how this works? Are you ready to do da 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 da? It's some sort of asking for the close. And all it is one simple transition sentence. That's all it is. So when I had my buyer's appointment, my transition to get them to go through the paperwork was a, hey, look, we might actually have to write this thing on the hood of the car, and I really want you to be prepped if it comes down to that. So is it okay if I just kind of go through the paperwork with you, just so you're comfortable? You're not going to remember all of it, but you'll remember a good chunk of it. Is that okay? And they always will say yes, because of how that's presented, but I'm asking permission to take them that next step and show them that paperwork. Okay, so it's asking permission, and then it's closing on them. Now, so it's those 3 things. Will this work? Will this work for me? Do I have money, energy, and time? Ask for permission, close. It's 4 things if you want to layer that. Here's the things that need to come into play or into this also. You have to be able to have some sort of, let's go with the first one. You have to be able to handle objections, and you have to be able preferably to handle them up front. So the way that I like to do this is when I sit down on my listing appointments, or when I'm doing a big group meeting where I'm presenting a new product for a room full of 30, 60, 80, 100, doesn't matter how many people are in that room. The first thing I always ask for a listing appointment is, hey, is it cool if I just ask you a few questions about, kind of like what freaks you out about this situation? And I did that to get their objections up front. When I'm presenting to a group of people with like the whiteboard thing that you're writing on, I'm like, hey, what do you guys want out of this? Like, tell me what you guys are looking for out of this. What do you want? What do you want to know? What do you want to learn? What do you want to, what do you want to cover today? And whatever it is, I write it down, because those tell me my objections up front. And then as I'm presenting, I know exactly what they are. Like, I don't have to build in an objection you might not have, because you already told me what your objections are. You told me what the problems are. You told me what everything is. I know exactly what it is. So as I'm presenting, I can make sure, because you're freaked out over, you don't want to just have, you have a luxury home and you don't want anybody in your flipping home without me there, period. You do not want open houses. You don't want any of that stuff. So I'm going to make sure as we're talking that every single time we ever have a person in there, they will be accompanied by me as well as their agent. If their agent can't make it, they still will have me, but I will be here and present for every single showing. I'm going to tell you that as we're presenting, because that's your main objection. You didn't talk to me about price. You don't care. You didn't talk to me about, I don't know, how much time it's going to take to close the dang thing. So I don't really care. You don't care. I don't care. But I want to get those objections up front. Same thing when I do a meeting and I'm like, hey, what do you guys want to get out of this? I want to know how it works. I want to know how much it costs. I want to know what the process is to get my real estate license. Let's say when I was doing those classes, I want to know what the process is. And I want to know the best company to go with. I would just write them down. And I would go, all right, perfect. We're going to make sure we cover every single one of these. If we don't at the end, then we're going to go back over this board. But I want to make sure, like, remember your question. So I want to make sure you guys are covered. People feel listened to and loved. And then during the presentation, I'm going to make sure that I'm pulling those points out. So that's handling the objections up front. And then the last thing is street cred or stories or reviews. They all cover the same exact purpose. So will this work and will it work for me? That's where those come in. So if you don't have the reviews like written where you've got those where they can find those and read those, like, hey, look, you can, one of the things I used to tell people before I had any reviews or anything, I would say, look, you can go to the state, you verify a real estate license in Washington state, and you can pull up my license and you can see there's nothing negative on there at all. Matter of fact, you should probably do that with any agent that you interview. And so I didn't have any reviews, but I'm telling them where to get a form of street cred. Okay. So if I don't have that, but I have stories, then I'm going to use my stories. So we want to do, we're out looking for property and we want to lowball this, like dramatically lowball. Can I tell you about, I can't remember the guy's name now, but Fred, whatever his name was. Can I tell you about Fred? And they're all like, well, yeah, Fred wanted to really scream and deal too. And Fred, he didn't want to listen, and he wrote 9 offers and every single one was too low, and we couldn't make any of them work because they were just completely out of the ballpark. He lost 9 houses. And finally on the 10th one, before he wrote, I asked him if he wanted to be a homeowner or professional house writer or professional offer writer. And he chose homeowner, and he listened, and we got that property, and he got a screaming deal. So you have an option, what do you want to do? Okay, that is a great story. That's true that I could just pull out. That is will this work for me? Well, no, that won't. Let me tell you about Fred. This will, but that won't. So, and if you don't, but you have to have some form of, will this work? Will this work for me? And the easiest ones are reviews, street cred, stories. So that's how you address that very first one when those things are popping up of, will this work? Will this work for me? It's your stories, your street cred, and your reviews. Okay. That is a bunch of information. I'm going to cover like sort of boom, 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 boom. And then let's just open this up and I want your thoughts on it. So will this work? And that's through street cred, reviews, stories. If nothing else, point them to the state site where you have nothing negative on your file. If nothing else, point them there. Okay. So will this work? Will it work for me personally? Like I trust you. You seem confident. Is this going to work for me? Like, are you really going to be able to sell my house? Absolutely. We sell, 90% of the houses, that 95% of the houses we list, we sell 100% of the houses we list. Once in a blue moon, one house won't sell. That is not going to be your house. Usually there's a problem with it. Or whatever, however you want to address it. So will it work? Will it work for me? Do I have the resources? Do I have the time, energy, money, talent, whatever it's going to take? This is super easy. All I need you to do today is sign. And then after that, we're going to bring in the stager, and then we're going to bring in the photographer, and then your house is going to go live. And then when we get people that want to do open houses, I just need you to clear out. I highly recommend that everybody in your house be given a task. So when you get the phone call with the hour warning that somebody's coming over, Johnny knows to empty the garbage. Susie knows to do the dishes really quickly. You guys straighten, and you're out of the house. And then we just wait for our offer because it's going to come in. So it's easy. Will this work for me? Yes, it's easy. And here's why. Boom, boom, boom. We take care of everything. So will this work for me? Ask permission, close. Will it work? Will it work for me? Do I have the resources? Ask permission, close. Get your objections up front. Okay. That is a ton of information talked at high speed. So thoughts, ideas, what parts do you guys naturally already do? What parts do you want to figure out how to tweak to add in? What do you like? What do you hate?
I totally love the part where you started with asking for their objections from the get-go. I had heard basically you can anticipate their objections. You can try to tackle the most common objections, but I totally love your approach because that just gives you their personal objections, gets straight to the point, and you're able to actually draft the rest of your presentation or customize the rest of your presentation to address all of them from the get-go. I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. It does make it really simple and easy. And then you don't have to deal with, maybe pricing isn't one, maybe they have zero issues around it. And a lot of times people didn't have issues around pricing. Not always, trust me, a lot of people have issues around pricing, but if they don't, they don't. So it's, yeah. Oh, and by the way, this problem stacking, this came from a man named Colton who works with, was Russell Brunson's right hand, the guy who did ClickFunnels. And that's, if you guys watch any kind of ClickFunnels or marketing, you will see the same basic set of stacking. You will see, like Anna said, the anticipating the objections is going to be in there. The street cred and the reviews are going to be there, sprinkled in between this. Will it work? Will it work for me? This is really inexpensive, time, money, resources, question, whatever that is, asking permission to close and closing. That's the same stack they do all the time. All the time. That's effective.
You always make it sound so simple.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you for that, because I'm going to fully acknowledge it's not. It's not. I am in the process of building out some marketing. I'm in the very early stages of building out marketing to market my class and then market for EXP. And it's a lot of work. Matter of fact, the goal today is to get the rest of yesterday and day before to get caught up on phone calls. So all that's caught up now. Get the ads going so that I've got automation working for me. And then it's to deal with the rest of my desk and get that done so that I can just pour in all my extra time into getting the marketing up and going, because it's so lengthy. But you're literally one ClickFunnels or funnel of any sort away from $1 million. But that doesn't mean it might be the first one you build. It might be the 15th one you build, right? I'm on my 4th ad with Indeed, and I just spent an hour on ChatGPT to completely rewrite my ad because now I'm in the process of A/B testing. So I have a night and day different ad, and I'm going to see which one starts to get me more of the type of people that I want. And then once I know, okay, this style works better than that style, then I'll start A/B testing that again to continue A/B testing it out. So it's It's simple. It's not easy. It requires work. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But once you nail it, so like Ron was doing so I've been watching Ron's Hoodle presentations and I'm working with him to get that thing honed down and tight and really effective. And we changed, there's a $79 version. If you came in earlier, there's like a $39 that you're paying, and that's cool. But now there's a $79 and a $99. And the $79 was selling, but the $99 wasn't. So we just tweaked it and we said, look, we've got it for $99. It works out to $10 per website, per neighborhood, per month. And, or there's a $79 one you can get, and you only get 5 for that. And then this last go, everybody bought the 99. And it's just that little tweak in there that you keep on your listing presentations or your buyer presentations, just keep on tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it. And you will eventually have a pattern that every single time you go, you take that appointment, like every single time. And once you're there, then you're there, you're gold. And you never have to, you really don't tweak it after that. You just start looking for what is the next hole in my business that I can start tweaking. But it's just this continual process of tweaking, which is what I'm doing right now, going through the Indeed ads. I'm like, okay, I tried this, try that. Let's rewrite the whole entire thing. And then let's see what we get off of it. And I'm just going to keep on tweaking it until they start to hit at the level that I want them to hit at. And then when they do, then we move on to something else.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. That's just how that works.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta get there.
Yeah. So I guess the first key is just to get on appointments. And then the first key to that is to have the database and the calls and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Go ahead.
I had a surprise call and then visit yesterday.
Yeah.
With a gentleman that I've been talking to for 3 years at least. He lives up in Baltimore.
Okay.
I believe it's his son, first contacted me. There's a piece of property that's an acre, less than a mile, I'm going to say, from me, right? And I actually picked him up when I was driving the transit, his son anyway, and told him I was a realtor, That's when I was still with KW.
Yep.
And we've been chatting back and forth, and it's his dad that owns the property, sort of. It's a mess, and that's why nothing's been done. It's kind of like Craig, only different, because we've got people that have passed away and no will and no probate, no anything. But daddy's been taking care of the bill forever.
Right.
And this other, I think, nephew sold all the other properties. And the kid's upset. Well, I've tried to talk to him about, the kid's upset because he wants his cut and he hasn't gotten any money. So daddy was in the neighborhood yesterday and called me up and said he wanted to come to my office. Oh, of course, here's my office, right?
Right.
Going, look, I'm in transition, I'm putting together home office. Can't we meet wherever? He didn't, he's said this before. So he came, I met him, he got lost. He doesn't do GPS. I met him down at the church and had him follow me back to the house. And he's like 90 years old, little black man. Told me stories and stuff for 2.5 hours here on the porch. Nothing has changed since I talked to him last. I told him I have to have a piece of paper saying he has the right to sell this property, and I can't do anything until he does that. But the whole time we sat there talking, I think he just wanted to see who I was and where I was. And he didn't want to come to meet me at, someplace else.
Right.
But it felt really weird bringing him over to my messy house and messy yard. And I mean, the porch is not bad where I've had the work done, like I said, but that's what we did. It was warm yesterday, so all I have out here is a fan, right?
Nice.
So that was an interesting thing. He says he's going to do what needs to be done PDQ, considering it's been 3 years. I figure maybe that means 2 more. I don't know. It's very interesting.
It is very interesting. I had a bunch of interesting weird things happen yesterday also, but a lot of really good connections. And I feel like, well, I contacted Success Magazine. They're not going to go the direction that I want to go. So they're going to go a different direction, but they're like, we think EXP will go that direction. I'm like, fine, who do I talk to at EXP? And they're like the chief growth officer and the chief strategy officer. I'm like, cool, give me their names. So I got their names. I tracked them down on Workplace. I've got their information. So I got to reach out to Gary today, have that conversation with him, and then reach out to those 2 people and see kind of what they're doing and what direction they're going with this thing, and kind of prod and push on them to go that direction. But those are 2 really good connections. And I'm not pissed at Success. They just decided that they're going to go a different direction, and that's fine. They've had this big, huge shakeout and they're going a different direction. That's cool. It just doesn't line up anymore. But out of it, I actually have those 2 connections. And then a 3rd connection was somebody that wants to build out something that seems similar to what I want to build out. So I'm going to reach out to them. It was just a day of a lot of connections yesterday, a lot of talking to this person, talking to that person, and then, oh, hang on, talk with over this. And there's a lot of, Ron's put me in front of some really powerful people. They will be very powerful people. And then there's also, we're going for some VC, and I've never done that. So there's a whole new learning thing I'm going to learn about what going after VC looks like, so it's cool. I don't know. I just keep on showing up. I just keep on showing up and doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And, and then it's going to, and then have integrity, and it's going to go where it's going to go. I know what I want to do. So then it's just a matter of, just keep on working on what I want to do also.
Who did I send you to? You said it was the EXP growth officer, and who else?
Chief growth officer and chief strategy officer.
Strategy.
Yeah, CGO and CSO. So Leah Pareja is the chief strategy officer. He's in the Workplace. And Michael Valdez is the chief growth officer, and he's also on Workplace. So I'm going to those 2 people because so here's what we're doing. Here's what's going on. Success Magazine, I wrote my class, which I want to do through Success Magazine. And then Success Magazine said, we will absolutely promote your class and do everything with your class. And then Success Magazine came back. They had a big, huge shakeup. Everybody's left, blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Okay, I got time. We're good. They said, but we want EXP to do that in sort of like a library resource marketplace training thing of some sort. Not the free training that is provided by Icons, but for people who want to sell training packages like Gary's books, those kinds of things. And in my class, then some other stuff. And so she's pushing on them to get them to do it instead. And there's some interest there, but they don't know anything about it. It would be also be a review type system. So people would take your classes, then they would review it clearly. Poor reviews, you'd rise to the bottom or fall off. Good reviews, you'd come up to the top. Okay, so that's the basic premise for it. And I had a point to this, but I don't know. Well, anyway, so now the point is to get in front of those people, talk with Gary first about, we want to, do you want to do this thing with me? And this is who we need to go through and see what it is that we can do to get that thing built. I know some other people who want to do the same kind of a concept yet and haven't been able to. It's a big project, y'all. I mean, you have to build out all the technology. You've got to get the group of people. You've got to figure out how you're going to do the review system with all the technology involved with that, et cetera. And then the platform would be the world. But it's a big project. So they're kind of bouncing it around, but that's cool because we get the opportunity to be at the forefront of what could be another cool, big, huge project.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why doesn't EXP offer or get somebody to support all their teaching and training to get us some CEUs?
So the problem with the continuing education credits is that there's massive state regs for every single one. So, and then for every single state, you have to go through the process. And none of it lines up with anything else. So there are some people that are looking into it. There's actually a couple of people that I've talked to in the past that's what they want to build, but they're still thinking super small because they only want to do it for like 1 or 2 or 3 states. And I'm like, no, all 50 states. That's what we need. So I think what they need is,
Mhm.
as with anything, I think we need to find the right who. And if we can find the right who and get them, then the rest of it should fall into place because you will have the right person driving it. And we haven't found the right person to drive it yet. Because I'm with you.
NAR won't drive it.
No, no, not at all. It's all this individual state regs per state. I mean, EXP did solve the problem by being a nationwide brokerage. And so the ability to have brokerage carrier in every single state and all that, they took care of that, and then belonging to every single MLS, except for in Illinois, new story. But every single MLS, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they took care of that, but every single state is so convoluted on the licensing process. I mean, it's really, really hard to get the first class approved. And then you have to go through massive to get the second and the third and et cetera, et cetera. And that's every single state. I mean, it's a lot of dang hoops to jump for. And I know because I've
Why
dug it.
couldn't they pick out one state that had the most reciprocity and start there?
They can. Again, we just need the right who wants to take that on.
Mm.
It's a doable project. It is not an easy project, but it's doable. There are companies that can do through across state lines. There are national companies that to get your license. And that's the
Yeah.
same basic thing. It's a lot of little stupid hoops to jump through to get it. And it can be done. It absolutely can be done. It's finding the right person that wants to take it on and then running it up the flagpole, which I can't see getting pushed back. You know what I mean? I just can't see getting pushed back. If nothing else, it would go into the marketplace because that's an easy place to put that puppy up. We just haven't had someone that has done that yet and then provide that way, because I'd love that too, especially inexpensive.
Oh, yeah.
I know I have to do CE. I got to get my whole year cranked out here in the next 7 months of CE. Have to. Ugh, but whatever. I have to just have to do the research to find the cheapest, fastest, quickest, easiest. There were credits one time. I'm not joking. I put down, because I hate listening to this stuff. I just want to read it and go as fast as I want. And so I said I was blind or deaf. Whatever. I said it was one or the other. I must have said I was deaf. I
Same.
can't remember. Anyway, whichever one I said it was. So it gave me all the verbiage, which is what I wanted, because it wouldn't, right? So it gave me all the verbiage. And then it had the stupid answers in there. I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? I couldn't believe it. I went all the way to the end and I'm like, no, there's the answers. So I literally answered. I think I gave myself one wrong one in each one because you don't want to get 100% on everything. And then I went to the second thing, all the answers. I'm like, well, damn, this is the easiest thing I ever took in my entire life. So it's the only one I've ever found that did that though. So there you go. I put everything on double speed. If I can get away without reading anything or watching anything, I will do that and go just straight to the questions and see if I can't just pass it without doing anything. I will do that too. I just need to find which system for Wyoming I can do all those things for and then do it. You did
Hey,
not hear
Dana.
any of this from me.
You talk with Gary a lot. When I was talking with him earlier this week, I had asked him if there was any way we could do audio versions of his books, that are on there that we're supposed to read, not to share them with anybody or whatever, but just for us. And his thought was like our Audible book.
Mhm.
And I'm not thinking anywhere like that, just for us to do it so that we can. I'm taking forever to get through those books, and I know they're not big or anything, but to sit there and read them is taking me forever.
Mhm.
And I figure there's probably lots of others in our group that are the same way. Do you think
Yeah.
do you think do you think there's something like that we as individuals can just somehow record it so that there's an audio thing?
Yeah. So I don't know. The technology's out there, and I know that can read anything that you put on it, because I mean, I think Max could even do it. I know my phone yesterday was reading somebody's voicemail to me at double speak, and I couldn't figure out why it was doing it, nor don't do it again. And it would not shut up. And
Right.
I don't know what got clicked or what got hit, but I know like the Mac is set up for accessibility to read it to you. I don't know how though, but I don't know if there's any, like Audible would be a great example to have that, you know, if that's the direction Gary can go. And I don't know his licensing agreement that he signed for those, because one book is signed underneath a different type of agreement than the rest of the books are. And I don't know. I just don't know the details. But maybe on your computer, there might be like if you tell your computer that you're blind, I guess that would be the one. I was like, are you deaf or blind on this one? That you're blind, maybe there's an accessibility one that it can read it.
Okay.
Check it out. Because does anyone, while we have the group here, does anyone know that if you're, and I don't know, if you're doing a group like this, can you make it so that people cannot chat, like an individual cannot use the chat? Does anyone know if that's possible to do on a Zoom?
Yeah.
Is
I
it?
think so. Because some of the Zoom classes that I've taken,
Uh-huh.
you have to set up, they have to set up a whole different thing for
Mhm.
and give you a different site to go to be able to chat. So there has to be a way to not allow chatting.
Okay, because I had a presentation, it wasn't mine, it was somebody else's, and the chat box blew up with 2 negative people. And it was really hard to stay on top of it and squelch it. And I was like, dang, if I knew how to turn off your chat, Chicky, I would turn off your chat because you are blowing up in a bad direction. Okay.
Yeah, I think you have to allow them, what I think is you just allow them to watch.
Right,
They don't have the ability to talk at all.
right.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Anybody.
how it's done either, but I think you're right, Kathy. I think there is a capability somewhere on Zoom, I think, where you can just allow people to view and come in to the presentation
Mhm.
and chat and not, make those chat boxes a distraction, which sometimes can turn into that. I don't know what level of Zoom it is. Like, I think it's in one of their premium packages or something, but I have been on calls also where chat is not allowed. Like, you just view the presentation.
Yeah.
Or you listen to the speaker and that's all you can do. And as far as the audio stuff goes, I do think there is a way to do it on your Mac, because for some reason I was sent a PDF of a booklet or something that a girlfriend wanted me to read. And I was just like, I was having trouble just reading it. And I don't even know what I hit, but it started reading it to me. Like, it started reading the audio to me from the Mac, from my computer. I also know, and I don't think Gary's books are available on Kindle, but Kindle will do that for you. If certain Kindle devices will read the book to you, even if you have just the paper or the electronic copy. And I don't know if Gary's books are set up for Kindle, but I'm just saying.
Haha, check out what I found. On your Mac, choose Apple menu, system setting, click accessibility, click spoken content, turn on speak selection, do some other things, magic, wave your wands, click your heels 3 times, boom, it will work. So somehow, yeah, it's in here. There you go. So yes, a Mac will do it because Macs will do everything. What do you guys got, or any other thoughts or anything on the first part, second part, or what else have you guys got, or what are your goals for this weekend and upcoming week?
My goals for this weekend is to get this stupid house on the market.
I love that one.
Yeah,
That is a
for
very good
next-
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for next week, I'm really gonna sit down and write out what I want my business to look like. Because you put on my mind, about getting the business, referring it out, and
Mhm.
then doing what I like. And I had a conversation with Eric yesterday, Eric Reasoner.
Love him. I love him.
Yeah. So I think the direction I'm going in, I'm excited about it, and it's new. I'm learning. It'll take a little while before I really see some money, but it's better than making money and being miserable.
Craig, I just spoke with a girl yesterday. I'm setting her up. She and Gary and I are having a call on Monday. She owns a
Mhm.
construction company in Texas. She also owns an LLC. She does commercial real estate. She does residential that falls in her lap through the commercial space only, because she just doesn't care about going after it. And she was trying to say that, I forget how she worded it, but she said the transactions are basically more business minded when they're commercial or come through the commercial side. And I'm like, they're not emotional train wrecks. And she's like, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But the entire business model is they have a very specific niche that they go after for commercial. They find buildings that make sense financially, and then they build out the inside through the construction company. They do the build for them to line up with the field that they want. She goes, we don't look for the perfect building. We look for the building that makes sense financially, and then we turn the inside into the perfect building. So that's what they do on the commercial side, but it's all, or on the construction side, but it's all commercial except for the stuff that falls through. And she goes, our commercial clients sometimes become residential clients. And she goes, them all help because we have business level, you know what I mean? We don't
Yeah.
have others. She goes, I just can't do those conversations. So I really thought about you. That's our entire business model.
Yeah. And that's sort of what I was thinking, like with the residential, if I do focus on residential, it'll be with my investors
Mm-hmm.
that I'm already working with, or other investors, that sees the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm gonna align myself with people that I can invest with.
Love it. So now I have another question for you. When you're ready to write down your stuff this weekend, are you the kind of person that the writing itself and the time alone is very cathartic? Or are you the type of person, because I am that person also, and there's a peace and a wisdom that allows me to flow. And I like that. And then I also, like I said, rewrote all my stuff via ChatGPT, and I found that very fun and interesting in a different way, because I literally could say, do this, and it would pop up all this stuff. And then I could think about it and go, well, now tweak this, tweak that. And what does this do? And then I kept on tweaking through to get a very different job ad, instead of taking the time to go, I knew what I wanted. I already knew what kind of person I wanted, but I used ChatGPT to do that process, facilitate that process. And it was different, but I really enjoyed it also.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get more familiar with ChatGPT and the other one by Google.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to write this description for the lake house. So I'm more the first way, cathartic. I sit down alone and quietly, and I write everything down. What I need afterwards, though, and a lot of times I don't do it, is I need to get with someone like you or Gary or just anyone to help me, I guess, get it to align it.
To align it
to where it makes more sense, because I'll just write it down and it's kind of like all over the place.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Take that.
mhm.
Take everything you write, dump the whole entire thing into chat, type the whole entire thing into a chat box and say, like, distill this down to 4 main points or 3 main points. Put this in logical order, or try that also, because that's the kind of, so like I write in paragraphs, those paragraphs are never in chronological order. I have to really, really work to go back and go, because they're complete thoughts, and go, hang on. I need to put this in some semblance of order. And then it takes me a while to kind of mick around with that, to get that in the order. And it's not a perfect process. It's just not.
Yeah. And then, so I got a manifestation journal.
Yay.
So I will be writing and scripting in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really going to help me to align my days and weeks to what I want to do.
Exactly. And then once you have that clarity of thought, like talking with Success yesterday, She goes, you don't want to coach? And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm like, I coach who I coach and I love what I do, but I'm not interested in you lining me up with some people that you're going to take a big chunk of money, which is fine. That's their business model. Again, I'm not complaining about that. And actually their business model that they have built better than any other coaching business model I've seen out there. Like I believe in all that. It's just not the direction I want to go. And she goes, you know, you don't want to coach regular real estate. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go do that. I want to work with our groups. I love our groups. I'm not interested in that business model. And she said, well, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to sell my class. I want to run it through a bunch of times. And I want to write a book out of it. And then I want to continue to work in putting together partnerships with things like Hoodle, higher level stuff like that. I want to move into. She goes, why? And I'm like, because I've been coaching people since 2009, I guess, actually 8 maybe, but 9 really actually. And I know how to do it. And I've got all the systems and everything. I'm just not interested in going after that business model again. I'm just not. But now that I have this very crystal clear vision, which I put together last year, I have a very crystal clear vision. So I'm not distracted with, you could make a pile of money over here if you just do this thing over here and we bring all these people to you and you da. And I don't want to go that direction. Can I? Yes, don't want to. My vision's this way. I want to go.
Yeah.
So, Kathy, you're muted, but this is a great visual. I don't know what it means, but it's good.
Instead of going like this, you want to go like this.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I have it all. And I would be willing to sell that also. I'm cool with that. Like, if you guys want to use it all, that's not you, them. Like, I'm fine with that too. I'm just not fine in doing, I just don't want to do it anymore. I just don't want to, you know, I want to work through our groups and continue to network and learn new things.
You want to step up?
Yep.
Instead of just sideways.
Yeah. So Craig, I highly encourage you to do exactly what it is you're doing. Like, take your time, process through, figure it out. That stuff, that beginning stuff, that requires that time and that inward looking. And then once you have that vision and it's pretty clear, you know, like maybe it's a little fuzzy around the edges, but it's still pretty clear. Like, I know I'm walking down this path right now. It's still a wide path and it'll hone down, but right now it's still a wide path. Then I would take that to something like chat and start kind of honing through and playing with it. And I just played for an hour. I thought the other day, this is pioneer technology and I'm not tapping into it in a way that works for me. And I don't care about, you know, write a poem about Nick Cage or some crap like that people are using it for it. I'm like, I could care less, but I really want to plumb what you can do. And I know I can do more than what I'm doing. And can you plumb it in a way that you can take my vision and plumb it into some words that I actually like? And I just keep tweaking. And then I'm like, flipping love that. And then once I had what chat wrote, this again for the ad, I rewrote it. I removed a bunch of stuff that was redundancies and some things like that. I rewrote it. I put it back into chat and I said, what type of person is this going to get me? And chat came right back as like, you're going to get, because they already identified all the problems. They're like, you're going to get somebody that is entrepreneurial, driven, this, and this. And I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, I think more coaches and team leaders need to be like you and Gary, especially writing out the goals, because instead of, you know, most coaches just say, well, how many houses do you want to sell this year and how much money do you want to make? You know, for me, that doesn't work.
No, it never worked for me either, because it doesn't address that's what, okay. Success Magazine said, are you a whole life coach? Are you a life coach? Or are you a real estate coach? I said, yes. And they said, no, you can only be one or the other. And I'm like, no. I work through real estate agents on the whole human being. Will what we do, will that work with anybody? Yes, absolutely it will. But I specifically have a heart and a passion for real estate agents. That's my love. So, but we are whole human beings. And if we don't address the whole human beingness of us, then what the hell are we? It's just addressing a situation, but it doesn't fix any of the root stuff. And it doesn't give you a big passion. And it doesn't certainly like fuel you with energy when the world just beat the hell out of you and you want to go curl up and watch a movie because success coaching told me no, and that's not the avenue I can go anymore, because I'm back at square one with promoting out my book and my classes, because I'm back at square one with that. But I don't give a shit. I don't give a crap. I have a ton of contacts information. And so we push on another direction because there's a passion inside about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. I've spent all this time, with Branch Road, and then he found the house he wanted, and it needs a lot of work, and it wasn't anything at all like what he told me he was looking for. And then I had this 80-year-old, so I must be doing something. I don't know what I'm doing wrong in terms of getting these people to tell me what they want and getting them in touch with reality. And then, I had this guy was 80 years old, and he just wanted to be done with his property. And I mean, had I not had a wonderful title company, I was ready to pull my hair out, because I went above and beyond, and he said he didn't think he could find the title company. So I said, okay, I'll come pick you up. I'll pick you up at 10:30. So I go pick him up at 10:30, and he's sitting in the car with his sister. And I said, well, I'm a little confused. I said, she's welcome to come. Do you want to follow me? Or I could have just told you where to go and you could have met me there. And then she says, oh, no, my GPS is wrong. And she was 76 or 78, and he was 80, and she was real sharp. Turns out she was a private duty healthcare worker. And so I said, well, look, I said, why don't you both get in the car and come with me, and I'll take you here. And then I brought them back after the closing. So we're in the closing, and she was kind of got her guard up and said, well, I don't know why he needed this. She said, I could have done that. I said, oh, you have a real estate license? He says, no, but I have a friend who does. I said, oh, I say, well, I said, it's my client. He's not paying the fees. My client is paying my fees, and my client wants everything done by the book and wants to make sure everything is correct. And I said, I've tried to be totally transparent with your brother, and I tried to save him about $58,000, and he rejected doing that. And so here's where we are, and here's what we're doing, and you're more than welcome to come. I said, I have everything in writing. You're welcome to review anything you want to review. And so, then we talked, and all the way over, we had a lot in common about aches and pains in our back and what she was doing and what I was doing. And so I get a chance to bond with her. But after the whole thing was over, and then we get in, and the closer basically was going over the closing and said, well, because he was 100% disability and paid no taxes, there was a chance that my buyer wouldn't have to pay any taxes this year, because she doubted the tax people were going to catch it. So she goes in and starts to negotiate. Well, then he should pay for the survey, a $600 survey, which was nuts. And I ended up learning how to close, get meets and bounds coverage in the title policy. And because we closed, we took the money out at close, and the title company paid the surveyor directly. And when the survey comes in, then we get the title policy. I mean, it was unbelievable. And the closer was so good, because she looked at me, and we went out, and she said, this lady's trying to get him to pay for the survey. And the client had given me cash to pay for the survey because I was going to pay for it. And we were going to try and get it done, and then we were going to delay the close or not. But anyway, at the end of the thing, everybody was happy, and they thanked me, and they hugged me. Both sides hugged me and said, thank you so much. That girl was really smart. She really knew what she was doing. Everything was transparent. I went above and beyond, and to get them to understand the net, because the title company was too busy and we couldn't get a HUD statement on net. So I literally took the HUD statement, set it up in an Excel spreadsheet, took all the estimations of what the costs were from the closing on Branch Road, put all the numbers in, and said, this is just an estimate, but my estimate is you're going to have to show up with this, and you're going to walk away with $78,000, and because you owed $10,000 more than, or $11,000 more than what you told us when we did the initial estimate. And he walked away with 79,000 something. And my client came up with $2,000 less than what he had to. And I was only off by $1,000 on both sides. So it really boosted my confidence level but I worked my ass off.
Mhm.
But what made me feel good is everybody was happy.
Amen. And that is a success story on every level. And
Yes.
so congratulations. And that's very, very, very common. I know. That's why there's purple in this, man. And that's why it's, because it's there. You said something at the very beginning. You said, I need to figure out how to figure out what they want. Okay. Hardly anybody knows what they want in life. And what we think we want isn't really what we want. And oftentimes when we're given it, we realize it's not really what we want. And it's just really common. And I've heard it over and over again. Our knees are messed up. We're in our 50s. We only want a single story house. And then they drag me to a 2-story. And I'm like, you know what you all said. And they're like, we know, but we fell in love with it. I'm like, the master's not even on the ground floor. I know, we fell in love with it. All right. And then we just move forward. The only thing I want is a whatever type of house, mid-century modern. This is a split level. That this what this is. Yes. You said that. Yep. I'm in love with it. All right. I'm in my head. I'm like, split level, really? Of all the homes that there are on planet Earth, like, bye you all. I know we're going late and we need to jump off also. But yeah, people, we don't know what we want. I mean, how many times in your life have you thought, if I just got this, and then you get it and you're like, nope.
That's why we change things and review as we go along.
Exactly. And I, all the time, because my husband, so he'll be like, but you said that. I'm like, I'm a girl. I just like, shut up. I'm a girl. I am going to change my damn mind, and then it stops the argument or the discussion, because I'm going to change my mind. I thought it was this. It's not that. I thought it was that. It's not that.
Everybody does.
So
It
that's
doesn't matter
normal.
what
That's
sex.
normal.
Absolutely normal. And speaking of that's normal, I cannot tell you how many times I use that phrase with people. They would be like, and I'm like, it's normal. And they're like, and it just takes people way down. Wait, what? Yeah, it's normal. It's just normal. We deal with it all the time. It's just normal. And when you have verbiage like that, that's some of the stories that you have built in. When you have stories like that built in, then they work. People relate to the stories. We get them. We understand and we get them. Craig, I have peace speak when I sit down in my foresty area and write. Yeah, because that's true. And we all get it. It's a little mini story. This is how I get peace. I get peace when I go into the forest and I sit down quiet and I write. Yep.
I went out there yesterday. I didn't write, but I went out there and it felt so good because I hadn't been out there in a while by myself. I've been taking the dog when I go, so it's it's a little different. I really needed that yesterday too, because it was either go to the bar or go to the mall, which our mall sucks.
I don't like anymore.
Well, our mall is so small and it sucks so bad that we have a TJ Maxx in the mall. And now they're building a school in the mall. It's crazy. Yeah. But anyway.
Malls are dying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I decided, I was like, hey, let me go to the park. And I went to the park and I sat in the bamboo ring, and it was like the weight was just lifted from my shoulders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yesterday, to take care of myself, I just was pacing through the entire house while I was on a bunch of phone calls. There's a section of the phone call in the beginning that I have to write. And then after that, I can just listen or I can just talk. And when I'm just talking, there's no reason to have my butt sitting down. So I just kind of paced throughout my house, but it just felt really good for me to have that movement, because that's the next thing that I need to be doing besides the double exercise with my hip, is just make sure I've got that constant movement going on. And it just felt good, it just did. So it's, we got to do those little things, take care of ourselves. It's normal. And nobody knows what the hell they want. So there you go. There's your life lesson. Nobody knows. So you just got to roll with it. And I ask questions and I clarify, you guys said this, and now you're doing that. Like, are we, and they're like, well, we want this. All right. And then we just go that direction. That's fine. So, all right, everybody, we need to
Thank
get,
you. Sorry.
all of us need to go.
Yeah, I do too. I gotta go play PT. But I just put in the chat for Kay, sort of, when I'm talking with clients, I just double check with them all along the way and say, are we still looking at this? You know, or have, you know, you changed your mind about this or that or the other thing?
Mm-hmm.
And do it all along the way, especially if they're not making progress with something. That, because it sounds like that means they're trying to figure it out still.
Yep, and it's totally
Right.
cool. Yep,
Yeah,
it
but
really
I gotta
is.
run. I gotta go
Yep.
play PT. See you guys
All right.
later.
Have
Have
a
a
good
great
week.
weekend. Love ya.
Weekend.
Bye-bye.
Greg, I'm looking forward to your vision. And once you have your vision, I'm looking forward to your database. Just step one.
Yeah.
Let's get it all into one place. And then
Yeah.
we'll figure out your vision will tell us your message. And then, so just
Yeah.
one of getting it all in one place. And then your vision is going to tell us our message. And then your message is still going to, I almost guarantee you the first call or two every single day is going to suck. It'll feel sucky for you. It will not be sucky, but it'll feel sucky for you. But then by the third one, at the very least, if not the second one or halfway through the first one, it'll feel really good. And yesterday, I mean, I sent you that picture because like it just felt so good. I was exhausted, don't get me wrong, but it felt
Yeah.
really good. It really did. And you know, if you could see my desk, there's like 25 sticky notes on here of things to go do. So it's all good. It really is. And I want you to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Me too.
Okay. All right, you guys have excellent weekends. Anna, I'm glad that you came back. I hope the scammer didn't do anything too bad to you and that you can hear and all that. So must be able to because you're sticking in here. So, all right, you guys, Kay, Anna, Craig, amazing weekends and looking forward to seeing you guys on Tuesday. Oh, Anna's there.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
me, it's not Anna. But
Oh, hi, darling.
Anna sent me the link. So every time I come in, it automatically put my name as Anna.
That's hilarious. That is, Liz comes in as Ava Sample every time. So I come in as Gary, Gary's come in as Gina. It's all good. All right.
Yeah, I always come in as Anna, but I always have these scammer on Facebook that always message me.
Yeah, yeah. So evil people. All right.
I
Okay,
know.
guys, have good weeks.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.